up, all my fight fans? So, an interesting fight got announced. And I'm not sure how to think about this one. I'm not sure what to feel. Hasmin Rahman Jr. versus Vitor Belfort. Yeah, I don't even know what to say, honestly. Me personally, it's just like, it literally doesn't make any logical sense. It makes somewhat of a financial sense. It does make somewhat of a, how would you say, it definitely gets Hasim Rahman a little bit more eyes. I want to say a little bit more viewership underneath this belt because again, nobody knew really who Hasim Rahman was prior to this fight announcement with Jake Paul. When this whole thing with Jake Paul was going down, nobody really even knew Hasim Rahman was even boxing, unless you're talking about hardcore deep down boxing fan. I'm talking straight up fighting, looking at the prelims from those rounds of round 4 all the way to the rounds of round 12. You are literally looking at every single detail of every single fighter that has ever existed. You know everybody. Everybody. Anybody that puts on a boxing gloves, both amateur and pro, you know it. Those are the people that knew Hasim Rahman was boxing. But us hardcores, even the hardcores, yeah, I was not aware of that whatsoever, that Hasim Rahman was boxing. So, with that being said, Vitor Belfort isn't a higher name than Jake Paul, but a very more dangerous fighter than Jake Paul. You know, these guys, I would imagine this would have to be at heavyweight. I know this whole speculation with weight was an issue, but you know, Vitor Belfort, he's no lightweight. He is no middleweight either. He used to fight at middleweight and he used to fight at heavyweight in UFC. And I think at one time he also fought at heavyweight. So yeah, Vitor Belfort is no small guy. He is definitely huge. He's probably on that juice. I'm talking that TRT. I'm talking about Vitor Belfort coming out looking like Bane. You know, we all remember how Vitor Belfort was back when TRT, before USADA came around. That dude was a beast. He was running over everybody and their mother. He was just completely dominating them. And now that there's a quite possibility that he might not be getting that kind of, you know, little test, if you will. Yeah, could be a very dangerous fight for Hasim. Because Hasim, again, he's going after these names. Is he a really good boxer? We don't know. You know, again, he's still on the under level right now. He has a few pro fights. I believe he has 11, maybe 12, if I'm correct. Still very experienced. You know, he comes from a good background. His dad was a great champion. And but nonetheless, going against Vitor Belfort, who himself has not had a lot of boxing experience. He is really good with his hands. Very fast, very powerful. But we all know boxing and UFC are two different levels, two different sports. I don't care what you do in MMA. Unless you actually train boxing, unless you actually focused a lot on your boxing throughout your MMA career, like possibly the Diaz brothers, like maybe a Masvidal, BJ Penn, I just mentioned Anderson Silva, you know, even George St. Pierre went out there and trained with Freddie Roach. They really did their best to craft that boxing. Still very different though. Still very different, and they're very difficult because, of course, in MMA, you're looking for the takedown, the knees, the elbows. In boxing, it's just all about blocking and dodging and ducking, all that stuff. You're not even thinking about a knee. You're not thinking about a kick. You're not thinking about a takedown. You're not thinking about all these different things. And with Vitor Belfort, his last outing, if I'm correct, was that very how would you say, very not needed fight with Evander Holyfield. Very like, no. Vitor, I get it. You want to keep fighting. That's cool. If you can do it, great. If you want to go after there, maybe challenge somebody else. Like, honestly, I would love to see him face Anderson Silva. That would actually be a very fun one. Very fun fight. But yeah, that fight did not need to happen with him and Evander Holyfield. Evander, please just stay retired. You are way much more older. You should not be putting on boxing gloves. The only time you should be putting on boxing gloves is to train, to stay in shape, to stay healthy. Please do that. Do not get hurt. Please don't get hurt. So yeah, Vitor Belfort, again, he is tough. He is strong. He is fast. But at the same time, he still does not have that high level of boxing like a like a Hasim Rahman, like his opponent. Even though Hasim is not the high level, he still has a little bit more knowledge. He still has a little bit more experience. So he still has a little bit more to offer than Vitor Belfort does. So it's a little interesting. It is a little interesting. But I promise you, Hasim, if you can't get past a much more older Vitor Belfort, if you can't get past a very unexperienced fighter in boxing, not saying fighter overall, but in boxing, if you can't get past this guy, then I really strongly recommend you do something else with your career. Because if you can't get past this guy, you ain't going to be able to reach that level that you want to in boxing. Now, as far as Vitor Belfort goes, if he does somehow get past him, that would be interesting to see what he could do, you know. Maybe possibly a Jake Paul. That would be fun. Possibly Anderson Silva. You know, you still got all these MMA fighters making their how would you say, their names more known in boxing. So there's always options for Vitor. And of course, if he loses, well, then maybe it would be that time to hang it up, just depending on if he does lose, if that does take place. We don't know for both of these guys. Same thing with Hasim Rahman. If he just so happens to win, then maybe we could get that match with Jake Paul. Or maybe that match with Tommy Fury, and the winner of that could face Jake Paul. Just to build each other's names up. These three could actually work off each other because now they're both established to Jake Paul. We kind of know who these guys are because of Jake Paul. So that would actually be a very fun, entertaining fight. You know, with this new fight, possibly with Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, maybe we could get this Tommy Fury and Hasim Rahman later on down the line, or possibly on undercard of these guys, if they ever really want to go against Jake Paul. Because unfortunately, whether people like it or not, he is a name in boxing. He has made his name in boxing. So for Hasim Rahman to continue to try to chase that fight is definitely the right thing to do. You definitely want that because he's a big name, a big payday, and very unexperienced in boxing still. Getting good, getting better each fight, but you do want to catch him now. If you wait later on, and if Jake Paul continues to get better and better, then yeah, it's going to be a problem as time goes on. But now is the time you want to do that. So hopefully, see what happens. Maybe he does get past Vitor Belfort. If he does, then that's where I feel that's where it's going to be headed. If he doesn't, then yes, dude, it'd be time to go down to the drawing board, maybe look for something else. Because again, Vitor Belfort isn't a boxer. He's an MMA fighter who has really good hands. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think about this fight. Do you think it should happen? Who do you think is going to win? What do you think is going to happen next for the person that does win? Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.